Beating Arsenal is not going to be easy, but I think I know how to do it. I'm going to show you the formation I think we need to play, which solves many of the problems we encountered in the first game. I'm going to show you how we can attack efficiently whilst keeping cover from the Arsenal counter-attack. And crucially, I'm going to show how we can defend against the Arsenal attacking pattern and counter-attack effectively to offer some threat going the other way. Let's start with the formation. Now, from doing some research and hearing what the press are saying about Igor Tudor, his apparent preferred formation is 3 at the back, a kind of variation of a 5-3-2. They call it a 3-4-2-1, I believe. Now, I'm not being funny. To play that formation in this game would be madness for one main reason. We don't have 3 fit centre-backs. And so I'm a very big believer in square pegs, in square holes, and that's why I've gone for a 4-1-3-2 formation. Nearly every team in the Premier League, most teams in Europe, all play a 4-3-3. But in order to counter many of the problems we encountered in the first game, we need to pack that midfield and not allow Arsenal the space. Let me give you the examples. So this is the build-up to the first Arsenal goal. And the first thing you notice is, look at how many players we've got in our own half. We've got our entire team in our own half defending, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Arsenal players free. For some reason here, Timber's come inside, he's got the ball. We've got 3 players around him. Richarlison's running back to try and engage with him. No one's making a tackle. No one really knows what they're doing. Now, what I want you to look at here is the position of Merino. He's in absolutely acres of space. The midfield has been vacated. And we're going to see here, as soon as the pass goes into him, Arsenal are looking very threatening indeed. So the pass goes into him, and immediately, look at the shape of the Arsenal attacking players. Trossard is getting ready to run into the box. Eza is getting ready to run beyond Romero into the box. Saka's already made his move inside of Jed Spence to get into the box. Or is it Udogie? Sorry, Udogie. And I'm not being funny, a player of any sort of quality, and Merino is a decent player. He's not one of the best players in the league or the most creative. But you give any top-level player this kind of time and space in the midfield, he's going to pick out a pass and it's going to absolutely kill you. So let's move it on a little bit further. So Merino takes a couple of touches and the Arsenal attack is set. He can go out left to Calafiori, or he can play that ball into the box that the 3 sort of strikers, Eza, Trossard and Saka are asking for. And again, no one's engaging him, no one's making a tackle. They're all sort of running around him. We've got 10 players in our own half. It's just an absolute shit show. We move it on. Trossard makes the run. Merino clips the ball in, and that leads to the ball ending up in the back of our net. Now, this is the build-up to the second goal. You can see Arsenal are going to play this little triangle on the right-hand side. They're very, very good at doing that, and we're going to cover that when we see how to defend against their attacking pattern. But essentially, Trossard's come over from the left-hand side. He's got the ball. He's roaming. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 players defended against the 4 Arsenal players there, but they're going to play this really little neat triangle that they like to play. And so we'll move it on. Ball goes into Saka. You can see Timber's made his move. There's the triangle. 1 touch passing. They've broken 3 of those 4 players, taken them out of the game. And now Timber has got all the time in the world to run down the line and clip one into the box. So we move it on. Timber gets down the line, clips one into the box. Fair play to Danzo. He's tracked his man. He's going to make a defensive header here, right? But again, notice the midfield. Completely emptied, completely vacated. No defensive strategy. Merino and Eza waiting on the edge of the box for that ball to drop. Danzo gets his head on it. And what happens next is absolutely astonishing. You'd think that with all that space in the midfield, we'd have at least 1 Tottenham player there ready to mop the ball up, get us on the counter-attack and get us on the front foot. Look what happens. Declan Rice appears into an empty midfield. Absolutely no one anywhere near him. Clips the ball first time into Eza. He takes his touches. Ends up in the back of our net. Absolutely astonishing. Again, this is the reason why we absolutely have to pack the centre of midfield. Here's the third Arsenal goal. Now, not so much build up here. Arsenal have just played another little triangle on the right-hand side. You can see from the shape of their sort of players. Again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players out there defending 4 Arsenal players. They've all been taken out of the game with a quick passing because they're not organised. They don't know what they're doing. They haven't been given clear instructions. And look at the position of Eza. Look at the position of Calafiori. Any player with any sort of quality in Eza's position, if that ball comes into him, he's taking a touch and sticking it in the net. And that's exactly what happens. Look, ball comes into him all the time in the world. We've got players around him, but actually really nowhere near him. And he sticks it in the back of the net. 3-0. Game over. I mean, it's just an absolute shambles from start to finish. And that's why, if we look at the formation again, you can see the midfield is packed out. And like I said, square pegs in square holes. Nobody's going to be asked to play out of position. No João Palhinha at centre-back, for example. Only Archie Gray, who obviously isn't an orthodox right-back. You know, it's not his natural position. But he has to play there because we've literally got nobody else. So, Jed Spence left-back, Van der Ven, Dragusin, Gray. Palhinha defensive midfield. He's a specialist there. Sarr and Gallagher centre midfield. They're specialists there. Xavi's a specialist number 10. And you've got your two strikers. Okay? So that's the reason for that formation. Right, let's look at how Arsenal get into their attacking kind of shape and their attacking template and why it's designed specifically to pin you in your own half. You know, if you play a 4-3-3 against them. So, like I mentioned earlier, most teams in the Premier League play a 4-3-3 and Arsenal are set up in their attacking template to exploit this formation. They keep their wingers and their fullbacks very wide, and this keeps the passing lanes open pretty much all of the time for Gabriel or Saliba to hit the pass into them. They hit the wide man very quickly and as much as possible. Madueke in this example. And as soon as they hit him, that's the trigger for them to set into their attacking shape. Like I mentioned in the clips of the game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they quickly form this kind of triangle out wide. The wide man, the attacking midfielder and the fullback. And that gives them several options of how they can attack and what they can do. And Arteta knows that by doing this, the opposition are effectively snookered because, number one, they hit the wide man early. He's one-on-one with the fullback. There, the Arsenal fullback is already bombing on, and so the opposition fullback is overloaded in a 2-on-1 situation. He can't win. Arsenal can always get a ball into the box, or the wide man can cut inside and take a shot. But number two, more crucially, the only way to defend this style and the way that Arsenal attack is for the opposition wide players to come back with the fullbacks. That means that if the opposition do manage to win the ball back and they defend that situation successfully, the only outball is to the lone striker who's being marshalled by both Gabriel and Saliba, two of the best centre-backs in the Premier League, both quick, both strong, both excellent in the air and getting first contact on that high ball. And so effectively, you're pinned in. You're completely pinned in. You've got no outball. All your players are in your own half. There's no threat going the other way. And Arsenal just keep the pressure on relentlessly until they get a goal or get a corner which they can score from. Or, you know, the opposition turns it over, boots it upfield, and Arsenal just recycle it and start again. And this is the main reason why the 4-1-3-2 formation, I think, works against the way Arsenal attack. If we turn the ball over successfully, crucially, there's an outball to get us up the pitch and offer some attacking threat going the other way. So let me explain. Now, I've illustrated the pattern of the Arsenal attack, the kind of template against the 4-3-3. So here's the key difference if we set up in the 4-1-3-2. The midfield, for a start, is so packed that it will force Arsenal into looking for the wide man each and every time. You know, sometimes Arsenal play a few passes through the midfield and then they hit the wide man. But they're going to have to hit the wide man almost immediately because the midfield's going to be so packed. Our players will be man for man with their players. There'll be no space in there. It'll be congested. And so the passing lane will still be open to the wide man, and that's where they hit him. When they do hit the wide man, again, Madueke in this example, this is the crucial difference. That's the trigger. As soon as that ball heads towards Madueke, Pape Sarr must go and engage Madueke, okay? So Jed Spence is going to get tight to him. He's going to show him inside. Pape Sarr is going to come and defend that inside space at the same time blocking the passing lane to Eza. If Madueke does manage to wriggle free and Timber's bombing on and overlapping, Jed Spence can break off from Madueke and defend the line. And so the options for Arsenal there, from the little triangles they like to play, and they do it very quickly, but the options are limited. Also, if Madueke or Timber or someone does manage to clip the ball into Ez in the inside position, Palhinha is spare. He's able to slide across, screen that passing lane, so Madueke or Timber can't go for the quick 1-2. And all that Eza can do is either cross, whereby Van der Ven and Dragusin will be dealing with Gyökeres. Hopefully, Archie Gray will follow Trossard at the back post and negate that threat. Or Eza will have to shoot from distance. And, you know, Vicario, for all his faults, is a very good shot stopper. So if that's the only option they've got, I'll take that all day. And this is where the 4-1-3-2 has the biggest advantage, really. Like I mentioned earlier, there's an outball. Okay? So say Arsenal try and play their triangle, the ball, someone gets a toe in and the ball falls to the feet of Van de Ven or falls to the feet of Polinia. Kolo Muani can move into that channel on the same side and that pass is on straight away. There's not just that single pass into the lone front man who's being marshalled by two players. We've got two strikers up there. Solanke will occupy the central space in this scenario. Muani moves into the channel. That's the outball. Look up, straight over the top, bang. We've turned them round. We're on the attack. Now, don't get me wrong. This system requires a lot of concentration, a lot of work, a lot of discipline, a hell of a lot of running. They're going to have to run their bollocks off. And Arsenal do attack in different ways. This isn't the only way they attack, but 90% of the time, that's what they do. Hit the wide man and go from there. Like I say, the midfield will be packed. It will be congested. There won't be many options in there. We can go man for man when we're defending in there, negating the problems that we had in the first game. And I think that's the way to frustrate Arsenal and offer something else going forward. Now, obviously, there are pros and cons to every system. And even though I think the 4-1-3-2 is the best solution against the way Arsenal play and the shape of their team, obviously it's very narrow. And so when we do counter-attack and break forward, we are going to be very narrow, okay? And this is why the two front players are going to have to put in an unbelievable shift. They're going to have to run the channels. They're going to have to really make a nuisance of themselves in order for this to work. So let's move on to when we're in possession of the ball. When we have the ball at the back, Van de Ven, someone like that, or Dragasine, we're setting their half. One of the front two is going to have to run into the channels to open up a passing lane. Conor Gallagher needs to move out to the channel. Van de Ven needs to hit him with that pass, allowing him to then either get to the byline and cross or play the ball into Xavi, who has to move into the pocket at the same time as the ball goes into Conor Gallagher, and he can try and create or shoot from there. The main thing about when we're in possession and we are going forward, we don't want to overcommit. Arsenal, again, they're a very good team. They're very good on the counter-attack. And so only 4 players really at any one time should commit. Ideally, those 4 players will be Conor Gallagher and Solanke, Xavi hovering around the edge of the box to create, and then Conor Gallagher doing what he does best and trying to arrive late into the box, picking up on loose balls, second balls, hitting shots at goal. And actually, to prove my case, I went to ChatGPT and I asked it, please collate all the information about the goals Conor Gallagher has scored, pick out the 2 most common features of how the goals were scored. Now, ChatGPT sat there and thought for a few minutes. It was literally pulling in all the data from all over the internet, all the descriptions of Gallagher's goals. What was quite funny is when it started coming up with answers, it gave me this. So, clubs he has scored for: Charlton, West Brom, Palace, Chelsea, Atletico Madrid. He later moved to Tottenham Hotspur, but this goal log shows no Spurs goals yet. Wonderful. But anyway, you can see here, look, every goal he scored from at senior level: right-footed shot, right-footed shot, right-footed shot, right-footed shot, a header in there, one left footer. Basically, all right-footed shots and a couple of counter-attack goals. But interestingly, at the bottom, the summary, point 2. He scores overwhelmingly from central midfield roles, not as a forward or a winger. Almost every goal is recorded with him in a central position, suggesting many are from midfield arrivals, second balls and late box entries. So it proves it. That's how we use Gallagher best. We don't need to overcommit with players. We need that security. We're going to have 6 players covering the Arsenal counter-attack, 2 midfielders. The back 4 are going to stay in place. We don't need the full-backs to push higher. And that's how we set up attacking wise. Like you can see from the animation here, when that ball does get turned over, and it will, because obviously we've only got 4 players attacking, they're going to have a lot more defending, so we're going to have to pull some magic out to get a goal, but it still offers a very real threat. So I think that's probably the way to go. But when the ball does get turned over, you notice a lot. Arsenal, the wingers are very good. As soon as the ball turns over, they get on their bike and they try and get in behind the opposition defence, and they play that single ball over the top into the wide men, and then you're in real trouble. And so this is why, like you can see in the animation here, the fullbacks have to stay. They have to stay pretty much on the halfway line with the 2 centre-backs, just to offer that pure security along the back line. The 2 midfielders, ideally Sarr and Polinia, they will track any runners that come from midfield. And again, if the ball gets turned over and the players are disciplined, they go with their man, they follow the instructions, it negates the Arsenal threat, and we can offer something else going forward. And that's the long and short of it, really. We don't need to play any other way. That will frustrate Arsenal. It will negate their attacking threat. It gives us something to offer going forward, pose a threat, give them more of a game than we did last time. And let's just remember, they're the ones under more pressure. I know it sounds a bit weird because obviously we're in the position we're in, but if you think about it, we only need to win 3 or 4 games and we're 100% safe. No doubt about it. Arsenal, the title's slipping away from them and it's beautiful. They've got a point off from Nottingham Forest, a point from Brentford in a game they probably should have lost. They got a point against Wolves the other night. It's slipping away. It's falling to pieces. They're under massive pressure this game. Now, obviously, you have to mention nothing's a given. There's factors that are going to be out of our control. Arsenal are very strong from set pieces. They're going to have some set pieces during the game. We need to be organised and set them up well. I'd like to think Tudor has identified that and will be working on that. He was a defender himself, a very good defender that played for a big club at the time, Juventus. So I'd like to think he's kind of got that covered in the training this week. And obviously the strength of the Arsenal bench, you know, we can carry out these instructions for 60, 70, 75 minutes. When they bring the reinforcements on, you know, your Martinelli's, a bit of pace comes on, maybe Trossard, Saka, you know, whoever comes on, Gabriel Jesus, carrying out them instructions against players with fresh legs, obviously is very, very difficult indeed. We don't have much on the bench ourselves. So that is something, obviously, we're going to have to watch out for. And, you know, we're going to need a slice of luck and what will happen will happen. So that's the end of the video. What do you guys think? Do you agree with what I've set out there tactic-wise? Do you think we need to do something different? Please let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video and you enjoyed the content, you enjoyed this style of video, please think about hitting like and hitting subscribe. And I'll make some more of this kind of stuff. And hopefully, I'll see you on the next video. And all I can say is, come on, you Spurs.